So the people online are just going to have to endure the first part of this. While I set this thing up. Here. Turn around on me. What's that all about? Punch. Okay. Let's see what it says now. Ignore the warning. Click on the bottom right-hand corner. I did that. Oh, there it is. And go over here. Tell it to accept. Still taking 10 minutes, isn't it? Any way I do it? It's going to take me 10 minutes to get this thing going. Well, that's life. Looks like we're there, doesn't it?
Very good.
Is it up there? Ah.
I can see.
All right. Okay. Sorry, online people. First 10 minutes of the tape is watching me plug this thing in because that's the only way I can make it work. Page 34, exercises 1.3. Has everyone realized this is the last topic in this chapter?
Yep.
Jay, no. I just do it as you give it to me. So the online people need to know this too. We don't have class on Monday, right? So that means on Wednesday, we do the practice test for this chapter. And then on Fridays, when you come into class, there'll be an exam on the table. You just sit down and take the exam. And then when you're finished, you can leave and I'll grade the exams and give them back to you on Monday. Okay? Actually, next Friday, a week from today, I'll grade the exams and I'll post your grade on Canvas. And the online people, I put your test over in the Learning Center after class on Friday. No, I could put it over there on Wednesday, I guess. The online people need to send me an email and see. And if you live so far away from campus, you can't come to campus to take the test in the Learning Center, in the Clark Academic Center, then we'll make arrangements to have your test proctored somehow, somewhere. We'll work it out. But for all of you here, you just come to class on Friday and take the test. A week from today. Okay? Good. So now we're ready for this third topic. Question 2. The following circle graph is divided into 12 equal parts. Slices that illustrate daily activities. How many slices are there? So what does each slice, how much time does each slice represent?
2 hours.
What?
2 hours.
2 hours. So make a note of that somewhere right on here, that each slice represents 2 hours. Now we should be able to answer the questions. How many slices are spent sleeping?
9. No, 6. 9. Oh,
Sleeping. Sleeping. Everybody see where sleeping is?
Yeah.
How many is it?
3.
3.
3 slices? So how many hours would that be?
6.
That's just wrong. That's wrong. I'm just telling you. That's not enough. You need to find one more slice in your life so you get 8 hours of sleep a night. That's basically what is standard for what you need in terms of nighttime rest. If you live a busy life, you need about 8 hours of sleep to function for the other 16.
I could totally cut out playing soccer and talking to friends.
So you say, I'll look at that chart and figure out where I'm going to carve something out so I get my 8 hours of sleep a night. B, how many parts or slices were spent watching TV?
2.
Which is what? 4. Well, there's give up half of that. You haven't lost anything. And there's your 8 hours of sleep.
No, soccer. It's soccer you need to cut out.
And then you got 2 more hours of TV if you've got time for it. And if you don't, then cut that out too. You go, I can't live without TV. You can live. You can't live without eating. You can't live without sleeping. You can live without TV. It might be a little painful for a while, but you'll get used to it. C, what activities took the most time?
Playing soccer and eating. Not even sleeping.
Homework.
Okay, the ones that took the most time would be the ones with 3 slices, right?
Yeah.
Sleep.
So where did this guy spend 3 slices?
Soccer and sleeping.
Soccer and sleeping. I guess if you play soccer, you probably do need 8 hours of sleep, don't you? I don't know. Soccer and sleeping. If you play soccer, you don't have a lot of time for a lot of other things. If you're going to spend 3, is that 6 hours a day playing soccer?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How do you play soccer that long? I don't know. What activities took the least time?
Eating.
Homework and eating.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bummer. Eating and homework. Going to have to rearrange my circle, won't we? If we're going to college, you're going to need more time than that. Could you cut the eating time down a little bit? Say, no, I need to eat slow and digest my food and visit with my friends. There's something to be said for that. People talk about how healthy the French are. And the French make a celebration out of eating a meal. Invite their friends over and sit around and visit. You wonder, are we here to visit or are we here to eat? And they say both. And all of these people talk about, what is it about the French that make them so healthy? And they say, maybe it's they use olive oil, maybe they do this, do that, do something else. And it's like, when you look at the French eating habits, some of the food they eat doesn't look like it's that healthy, but it could be that taking that time to eat it and let your body enjoy some conversation while you're eating can be part of being healthy. Number F. What fraction of the time was spent doing homework? What fraction of the time?
1/12.
1/12. And that would be how many hours?
2.
2. Well, that was easy enough. Let's go to 4. What does a stellar sea lion eat? I have no idea. Well, it shows you there. What's that picture tell you? For number 4.
Fish, other inverted clays, and squid.
Fish is what?
63%.
63%. What's the other one? Other
Other invertebrates.
is 30%. And squid is 7%. 4A. Which food would you stock the most?
Fish.
Fish,
More fish. 4B. If you buy 100 pounds of sea lion feed, how many pounds would be squid? If I have 100 pounds, how much of it would be squid?
7.
7%. That would be 7% of 100. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Percent. Okay, in school you learn to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions. Well, whole numbers, then fractions, then decimals. Did you have a class on add, subtract, multiply, and divide percents? You did? You didn't. Or were you told to convert all of the percents to decimals or fractions and then add, subtract, and multiply and divide? Well, then you were given good information.
That's you turn it into a decimal. So
Right.
it's
So
easier.
if you turn it into a decimal, 7% is what?
0.07.
0.07. If you turn it into a fraction, what is it?
7 over 100.
7 over 100. And everybody knows what of means in math?
no.
Add, subtract, multiply, divide.
5.
4 operations. Which do you want to guess? Add, of means add,
Divide.
subtract, multiply, or divide. If I have a dozen eggs, it's 12 eggs, and I have 2 dozen, and I have 2 of them, how many eggs do I have?
24.
If I have 2 dozen eggs, and a dozen is 12 eggs, how many eggs do I have?
24.
24. Everybody follow that? Everybody follow what I just did?
Yep. Add.
Okay, now you know why it's like you go, you can't figure out how many eggs you have 2 dozen eggs? Say, yeah, I can figure it out, but you just messed with my head because you asked me what of means. Does it mean add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Now, based on what we did down here with eggs, what is it? Multiply. Write that down in your notebook. Of means multiply. When you're translating from words to math, when you see the word of, 6 of something means 6 times something. And see, the reason I messed with you is because I want you to realize a lot of people get messed up with the word of because it's add, subtract, multiply, divide. They've got 4 choices. They're wrong 3 out of 4 times. They picked the wrong one. So somewhere you have to write down in your notes and finally get it fixed in your head that of means multiply. Probably wouldn't hurt to start a little vocabulary card for math that tells you what all these words mean. And watch, now that you know that, and for some of you are looking at me like I'm the first one in the world who told you that, okay, then send your past math teachers an email and say, shame on you for not teaching me that earlier in life. But now that you know that, do you understand we just turned a big corner in how to work story problems? See, working story problems is just a simple matter of learning how to translate from English to math. And once you learn how to do that, then the equation just pops up there. So 7% of 100 would be what? What mathematical sentence? 0.07, then what? Times 100. And if you don't know how to do that in your head, get your calculator out and take 0.07, hit the times sign and hit 100, and what do you get?
7.
7. So what's the answer?
7.
To 4B?
7.
7. Does everyone see where that comes from? Good for you.
So what's your
4C. Now I'm buying what?
200.
200 pounds. So I change it to 200 pounds and erase all this. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, wait, if I erase it, you can't see it. Should have left it up there. Well, too bad for somebody. What would that be? 0.07 times 100. Sorry about that. Now wait a minute. If it was up there and I erased it, will it be on the video that it was up there before I erased it? If a tree falls in the forest, is there a sound if there's nobody there to hear it? This stuff is wearing me out. Okay, 200 pounds. Maybe I can erase it. Let's try it and see what happens. This is just so cool.
0.07
Because it has to be, it's on the tape and it's recording.
equals
Okay, so now we've got 200 pounds, 4C. How many pounds should be squid? Now,
14.
is that squid again?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at squid again.
Just times it.
So I go
Two.
7% of what? 200. Of means times. This is 0.07. Everybody follow me now? We walking through this process. We understand what's going on. 7 times 200. 0.07 times 200 is what?
14.
14. There's the answer. D. If octopus, shrimp, and crabs, preferably in the same amount, fall into the category of others. Okay, let's erase this. I like this erasing stuff. So here now we're looking at others. And what does it say? Octopus, shrimp, and crab. And if it says in the same amounts, if this is 30%, then this would be 10, and this would be 10, and this would be 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody follow that?
Well, no.
There were 30% for these three,
Okay.
and those three are in equal amounts.
Right. So it's 10.
So that's each of them is 10.
Gotcha.
Okay? And you buy 300 pounds.
So it would be point
Of stellar seafood.
times 30.
Is that other invertebrates? Yeah. How many pounds of crab? There's the crab. How many pounds of crab? See what we just did? We don't want the whole 30%. We only want what? 10% of the 300. So, how do we work it? We go, don't do that to me. I didn't ask for that.
Don't exit that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
don't
hit
do,
that.
don't do
exit
that,
that one.
Alex.
Yeah.
Do that other one.
There you go. Don't do that one or that'll go off the screen. Okay. So I've got 10%
Point 10, right?
of 300. And that's 0.10 times 300.
Equals 30.
It's not all just being an old man. It's trying to write on a tablet without something to put my arm on. And so what would that be?
30.
30. Does everybody see how this works? Do you see my strategy for working a story problem? I keep looking at all these words, and I don't just read all the words and then try to figure out what to write down. I read some words and then I write down what it tells me. So I'm putting the information in mathematical terms. 4E, a male stellar sea lion weighs 2,200 pounds. Okay, 2,200 pounds. That's C. That's E. I can make an E out of that. And eats 200 pounds of food. 200 pounds daily. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
How many pounds of fish does he eat? Fish. How many pounds of fish?
68%.
He eats 200 pounds total, right? How many pounds of that would be fish? Look at the picture. What's the fish part? Fish up here.
63.
63%.
What?
63%.
So I go 63% of the 200 pounds. And what do I get? 0.63 times 200 equals
63. 126.
126.
Now, you know what happened? Some of you punched those numbers in your calculator. 126 popped up, and in your heart of hearts you said, that doesn't look right to me. What did I tell you the first day of class? The heart's deceitful and desperately wicked.
Amen.
So you say, I don't care if it doesn't look right. If I did the math right, I've got the right answer. Leave it alone. When I give you the test next week on Friday, some of you are going to work the problem, and I'll just tell you it's a multiple choice test. Now people think, oh, really? Well, that makes it easier. No, it doesn't. It does in every other class except math. In math, the guy who wrote the test, mathematicians know what kind of answers people like to put down that are wrong, and they put those down as one of the choices. So when you take the test, you'll work it, you'll get an answer, and you'll think, that doesn't feel right to me, that doesn't look right. So you'll look over the choices and pick the one that you feel warm and fuzzy about and miss it. When you actually had the right answer right there on your paper, but it just didn't look right to you. Do you understand that depravity not only affects us morally, it affects us mathematically? Once you understand that, then you go, okay, oh, you go, that's why I don't like math, because it shows my depravity. Well, get over it. We're all in the same boat. We just have to keep moving and making our way through life and learning how to minimize the mistakes. So, 126. F. Is that where we are? A female stellar sea lion weighs 600 pounds and eats 50 pounds of food. How many pounds of squid? Now, see, for him it was fish. See back up here? We ask about fish for him, but now for her, it's what they ask him? Squid, and squid is what? 7%. So I come down here and go, squid? Oh, come on. When I want that, it's not there. Squid is 7%. So she's 50 pounds, so I take 50 pounds times what? 0.07. And what do I get for an answer?
3.5.
3.5. And that's the correct answer. And you know what some of you are going to put down on your paper for an answer? You don't like to mess with decimal points, so you'll just put down 35 and miss it.
Right.
It's a lot. That sea lion sure loves squid then.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. G. How many pounds of shrimp does a female stellar lion eat? What was shrimp?
It was in the others.
That's in the others, and that's
10%.
10%. You see that?
Yeah.
So I go down here and go, okay. I take 50 times 10%, which is 0.10. Boy, I put that decimal point down where it belongs.
It's 0.10%.
Times 50, and what does that equal? 5. What do you think?
5 is a great
So,
answer.
when you first looked at page 34 and 35 and saw all these story problems, did that stress you out a little bit? Well, now that I've helped you learn how to translate from English to math, do you feel empowered? Are you having as much fun as I am? No.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe. We're getting there. We're working on it. Page 36. Now, again, you do all the odd problems for homework, but I'm just kind of doing one of each kind so we don't run out of time here before we get through the end of it. Number 8. The following charts show the leading causes of death in the United States. Number 8. In 1973 and 1996. So here's 1973 and 1996. 2 charts. Okay? You see them there? One of them says 1973, one has 1996 written above it. You got a picture in your mind of the picture? Do you see how I write some stuff on the paper to help remind me that I'm looking at 2 different charts and what are the differences? 73 and 96. That's part of showing your work. That's part of working this stuff out. 8A, list in order the top 4 causes of death in 1973. So I'm looking at this one. You with me? I'm looking at this one right here, which is the top one. And what am I trying to find?
The top 3 causes of death.
Top 3 or top 4?
Sorry.
What's the top one?
Heart
It is
disease.
heart disease.
And what's the next one?
Other causes.
What's the next one?
Cancer.
What's the next one?
Cerebrovascular.
1. We go 38 is 1, 22 is 2nd, 17 is 3rd.
And 10
Cancer.
is
What's 4th?
10
10.
or
And what's 10?
Cerebrovascular.
I don't know.
Can you see the green color on the chart there?
Yeah.
Where is the dark green? Oh, that. Oh,
Right under heart disease. So if your heart doesn't get you, your brain will. Stroke, I think they call that, don't they? Something, an aneurysm in the brain. Something will get you. Okay, 4B, list in order the top 4 causes of death in 1996. So now we're looking at the other picture, which is the bottom one.
It's the same.
And they want the top 4. So what's the largest number?
Heart disease.
31, which is heart. What's next?
25, which is other causes.
Now see, when you look at the picture, because the people who put the picture in the book thought it was cute to tilt it, with it tilted like that, it makes the front one look bigger than it makes that whatever color, that cancer color, look bigger than the blue, doesn't it? So you have to look at the numbers to make sure you're getting them right. So the biggest number is 31, then 25, which is what?
Other causes.
Other causes. 23 is next,
Cancer.
cancer. And what's next after that? 6.9,
Cerebrovascular.
It's the same as a.
stroke. Okay? Everybody follow everybody see what we're doing? Well, 8C, which type of death decreased the most, being between 73 and 96? Now I'm comparing these two. And I'm saying, which decreased?
Heart disease.
Yeah, heart disease.
Heart disease went from 20,
From 38 to 31.
from 38 to 31.
Cerebral also.
Cancer went from 17 to 23. It went up, didn't it?
Uh-huh.
Cerebral.
By 4.
And cerebrovascular went from 10.9 to 6.9. So that one decreased by 4. What's the decrease from 38.4 to 31.7, or from 38 to 31?
That's 7.
7.
So which one decreased the most?
Heart disease.
Now, see, a guy could really mess with you here. Well, if you say which one decreased the most, you say which one had the largest decrease in percentage, that would be more accurate. Because when you say which one decreased the most, then you might say, well, if you're talking about how many people, that could make a difference. But in this case, it doesn't matter. So you got to read carefully when you're looking at questions to say, what is it they're talking about? D, which type of death increased the most? From 73 to 96. Now, which one had the biggest increase?
Yeah.
Which one went from smaller to larger?
Cancer.
Cancer. Yeah. Wonder what that's all about. Well, my theory is it's diet pop. I mean, hey, everybody can have a theory, can't they?
Yeah.
I just think someone offered me a drink of that stuff one time, and I say, you know, that's terrible. And then somebody says, well, it's an acquired taste. If I have to acquire a taste for it, I'm not drinking it. And I'm thinking people are saying, I'm drinking this so I won't gain weight. Yeah, and in the meantime, you're getting cancer. No, not necessarily. I don't know. But we're all entitled to our opinions. Okay. Number,
E. What about E?
skip it.
Okay.
Number 10. Number 10. Look at the circle graph where the federal government dollars come from. Federal government dollars. Come from what source does the federal government, 10A, what source does the federal government get the most money?
Individual income taxes, 48%.
That great big green section, and that's individual income taxes. And that happens on April 15th, right? No, it happens every time you get paid. You get your paycheck, your stub says, what? They took out money for income tax. They took out money for FICA. What is that? Financing old people like me. Thank you. I appreciate the contribution. I enjoy it immensely. They take out money for Medicaid or Medicare. That's what you'll have in place of insurance when you're old like I am. Thank you for paying my premiums there as well. It's not just me, it's all your old relatives that are cashing in on this. So I don't get all your money, but just think about all the people you're helping when they take all that money out of your paycheck. Yeah, but the biggest share is taxes. What are they doing with that tax money? Well, you'll have to follow what goes on in Washington to figure it out. B, what's the second largest source of money for the federal government?
Social insurance payroll taxes.
34%, that's blue, that's Social Security. That's the FICA thing, Social Security. Social insurance payroll taxes, they call it. If you go back 3-4 generations, there was no Social Security. when people got old, if they didn't have enough money to live, they moved in with their kids. Today, Social Security is so generous, when people get old, their kids move back in with them. What's that all about? Hey, you know, no sense both of us making house payments. Okay, so you move back in, you start making the house payment, that's fine with me. C, individual income taxes, 48%, will raise about $900 billion this year. Corporate income taxes will generate 10% of the money. Estimate how much money the federal government will receive from, it didn't say, just how much they'll receive. Oh, apparently, do they want to know the total that they're going to collect? Okay, watch what it said. 48% of the total equals what? 900 billion. Everybody see that? Does everybody see that? You see where I got those numbers? 48% raises 900 billion. So 48% of the total is 900 billion. Everybody follow that, what we did there? Okay, now, we change this to 0.48 of means times t equals 900. How would I find t? How do you undo times?
You divide.
If 2 times t equals 12, then t equals, divide by 2, 6. Agreed? See how when you're stumped with math, you can go off to the side and make up a little problem that makes sense to you in your head, and you can figure out which operation to use? So, 0.48 times t is 900. Then to get t by itself, I would divide by 0.48, and I would get t equals, what's 900 with your calculator? What's 900 divided by 0.48?
1,875.
Say that again.
1,875.
1875. Now that's a lot of billions, isn't it? That's $1,875 billion. Whoa! How are we spending that money? Well, read the congressional record and you'll find out. Okay.
Mr. Bona.
Uh-huh.
It also said that it was supposed to be an estimate. So do you think just 1,800,000,000,000 would be an acceptable answer?
Be more like 9.
1,800,000,000,000? I like that.
Because they just doubled it.
Yeah. And so somebody else says, no, it looks to me like it's almost 2 trillion. And can you see where when it says estimate, I might not estimate like somebody else would, but we're all starting with the same number. And it seems to me like, what, 1 trillion, would it be 800 billion or 900 billion?
9 because it's 7.
Since it's 7.5, we'd round it up to 9 and say 1,900,000,000,000. About.
What's 100 billion to the American government? Not much.
Right?
Okay. Page 37, problem 12. People who abstain from drinking have double the risk of a stroke as drinkers. Oh, there you go. Forget that one. Now, here's what they just said. If you don't drink, you're going to have, okay, take 100 people who don't drink and 100 people who do. The 100 people who don't drink are going to have twice as many strokes as the 100 who do. Yeah, because we're going to live longer. Because they're going to die from liver disease before they live long enough to have a stroke.
Start driving.
Why would a guy put something like that in a college textbook where college kids all over the world are tempted to drink anyway? Well, he's just trying to be relevant. Well, then talk about, let's take 100 drinkers and 100 non-drinkers and look at their brain and their liver 10 years later. Have you ever seen the brain of an alcoholic? Where they actually took an alcoholic, cut his head open. When he died, took the brain out and sliced it open, and you can see how it's been pickled for all that time he's been consuming alcohol. Because that's what alcohol does. It pickles stuff. Kills it. And then take his kidney out and slice it open and go, whoa, what happened here? Alcohol. That's why it's called alcoholic poisoning, people. And they sell it by the keg on college campuses because we're being cool. Being stupid is what we're doing. So let's skip 12 and go to 14.
Amen.
I can't even handle that stuff. Now this is valuable stuff to know. At what time do fatal accidents occur? 14a. Find the number of fatalities between 12:01 and 3 a.m. See down the left-hand column, 12:01 to 3 a.m. How many fatalities?
23.
23. Okay, you got that one. Everybody got that one? It's just looking at the picture and reading the chart. What's B? Find the number of fatalities between 3 and 6 a.m.
8.
8? Is that right?
Yeah.
It's all truckers.
What happened? Why did it drop off so much? Everybody else has gone to bed. There's just you ever drive a car out from 3 to 6 a.m.? The streets are almost empty.
Because everyone's at home.
Not on a weekend though, but don't go out on a weekend that time of day. C, what's the most likely time period for a fatal traffic incident to occur?
6:01 to 9.
Oh man, that's when all the teenagers are out on the road. So I try to stay home between 6 and 9 p.m. I mean, figure it out mathematically. If I've lived as long as I've lived, and that's when most of the accidents happen, when would you suggest I stay home?
At that time.
At that time, because mathematically it's going to catch up with me if I'm out there when all those people are scurrying around running over each other. So I'm going, nope, it's 8 o'clock. I'm not going out now. I'll wait till 10. You go to the store at 10 and there's hardly anybody there. Say, Price Chopper's closed. Well, Hy-Vee's open. That's what they get for closing. I go down the street to their competitor. Walmart's open 24 hours a day. Okay. Aside from unknown, what's the least likely time period for a fatal traffic incident?
Early.
3 to 6 in the morning. So I'll run all my errands from 3 to 6 in the morning. No, I won't. Or no. Oh, yeah, apart from unknown. Unknown is the lowest, but they said apart from unknown.
Because we don't know what it is.
Yeah. 16. Do you have a computer at home?
Yes. I went in my bag.
And you know what? We'll skip this one because the information is probably outdated. 18. Which has more calories? Page 40. Which has more calories, ice cream or yogurt? So on the left is what is it?
Yellow.
Yogurt is orange and ice cream is blue. Got that? How many calories are in Cherry Garcia ice cream? So I'm looking at ice cream. There's two kinds. Cherry Garcia and cookie dough. Which kind are they asking about?
The left one.
Cherry Garcia, the one on the left.
Yeah.
And they want ice cream. That's the blue one, right?
Yeah.
So the one on the left, blue, goes up to what?
240.
What do you think?
245.
Anybody want to guess? I heard 240. I heard 245. Who else wants to make a bid?
Don't you just estimate on that?
Yeah, see, it's an estimate. You have to look at it and say, so if you don't have the exact answer they have in the back of the book, you know you're looking at the right thing. You're making an educated guess. If it doesn't match, don't worry about it. If you're way off, if you said 150, if you said 150, what were you looking at?
You were looking at the other one.
Looking at yogurt. You see that? You're looking at the yogurt. So, the Cherry Garcia yogurt. So then you go back and say, oh, I was looking at the wrong column. How many calories are in Cherry Garcia yogurt? Cherry Garcia, left side, yogurt, orange,
About 150.
150. Okay. Got enough of that. Number 20. What's the most popular spectator sport in Japan?
Professional baseball.
How cool is that? What's the second most popular sport?
There's 3 of them.
It's a tie.
Yeah.
Baseball, high school baseball, and then equidin.
What's the least popular sport?
There's 2.
Nothing in particular in martial arts.
Whatever those are. Okay. Oh, question D. This is kind of cool. 20D. How many more people prefer Japanese professional baseball than Major League Baseball? Okay, how many people like Japanese professional baseball?
There's 3,000 of them, and it's 50% of them.
50? 50? I'm thinking maybe 51%. Oh, let's call it 50% because it's kind of a funny shaped thing. And Major League Baseball?
There,
15.
15%? Now, what do they want to know? How many more people? Okay, what's the difference between these percentages?
it's 35.
35%? So, or another way to look at it is 50% of the people. How many people is this?
There's 3,000.
So, out of 3,000, 50% would be 1,500, right? 15% would be 0.15 times 3,000. That might be the easiest way to work through it. What's 15% times 0.15 times 3,000?
4, 5.
450?
Yeah.
450? So, what do they want to know?
Oh,
How
what's the difference?
many more? How many more? Subtract 450, and you end up with, is that right? 1,050 more people watch Japanese professional baseball than Major League Baseball. You go, why would that be? Well, turn on some Japanese professional baseball and you'll find out why. It's cool stuff. If you're into baseball. Okay. Pick number 22. How are we doing here? Let's see. Number 22.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we're okay. La Cubanati Cafe has the following sandwich lunch menu, and the items sold are displayed in the graph. So here's the menu on top, and underneath is a graph. What's the most popular sandwich sold?
Cuban.
The Cuban. Which was the least popular sandwich sold?
Cuban special.
The Cuban Special. So somebody tells you, boy, you ought to try that Cuban sandwich. And you go in there to buy one, you say, what did they say I should buy? And they said, and you look at the menu and you say, hey, you know, that Cuban Special sounds like it'd be good. Special makes anything sound good, right? So you order the Cuban Special and go back and tell your friend, it wasn't all that hot. And you say, what'd you order? You say, I ordered a Cuban sandwich. No, you ordered a Cuban Special. You should have got the Cuban. It's much better. Well, who knows? Just one little mistake in life can mess you up. Each sandwich, C, says, requires 1/4 of a loaf of bread. How many sandwiches were sold and how many loaves of bread were needed to make those sandwiches? How many sandwiches were sold?
For lunch or just on?
Amount sold 80.
It doesn't say, does it?
No, it doesn't. Unless you add up the Cuban special.
So if they say how many sandwiches were sold, I'm assuming for lunch, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means I add those together, which what do I get? 80 plus what?
10
10 plus
20
20
plus 40
plus 40. 60, 70, 150 sandwiches. And what? Each sandwich?
Uses 1/4 of a
So
loaf.
I take 1/4 of that to find out how many loaves I need, right?
0.25
Or 0.25. 0.25 times the 150 is what? 37.5. So I better buy 38 loaves of bread, huh? Okay. What do we have on the next page? Line graphs, number 24. No, that's no fun.
I like it.
Consumer price index. Ah, do you want to be a teacher? Number 26. That looks cool. Let's do that one. Do you want to be a teacher? The graph shows the average annual salary for public, elementary, and secondary school teachers. Maybe we shouldn't do that one. You don't make any money as a teacher, but you sure have a lot of fun. Okay, so question A, what's the average salary in current dollars in 1970 and 71? The average salary, bottom line, 1970, 71, in current dollars.
It'd be like
What would it be?
40.
Go over to 70, 71 on the bottom row, and you either have current dollars or constant dollars.
It's gonna be 10,000.
So current dollars would be $10,000. In other words, making $40,000 back in 1970 is the same as making $10,000 today. In 2001, what's the dollar difference?
2001.
What's the dollar difference in 2001?
It's $30,000.
$30,000.
Yeah.
$30,000? Are they asking between current and constant? Or are they asking between what was the current dollar? What's the average salary in current dollars in 2001?
It's a current and current, but the green line goes up.
Yeah, and that's 40,000. And what's the difference?
So 10.
30,000.
minus 40 or 40.
You understand? You have to read the words and figure out what they're talking about, and then just write down what you find in the chart. Let's see. I don't have any over there.
40. It's the same.
Number 28. This will be a good one to look at. Do you want a loan or a grant to help pay for college? I'll take a grant, thank you. Because what? I don't have to pay the grant back.
Right.
Yeah, how do I get one? Apply for one. They didn't give me one. Well, then I guess you better either get a job or get a loan, you know. What's the percent of student aid? What percent of student aid was loans in 1989? Look at the bottom. Go to 89. And what percent of aid was loans? About 50%, wasn't it? 51, 50, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
What percent was grants?
50.
50.
About 50 or 49, somewhere in there. What's the percent difference?
Maybe 1.
Yeah, 0, maybe 1. You see how when you're estimating, looking at a picture, your answer might not match the back of the book?
0, 1, or 2, actually.
Now, go to 2000 and 2001. What's the percent of aid? What percent of aid was loans in 2000 and 2001?
69, 59.
59 to 60, about 59%.
Yeah.
What percent was grants?
41%.
About 40 or 41%?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Everybody see what we're doing?
Yeah.
So, you feel empowered?
I feel broke.
Yeah, don't we all? I'm kind of glad the government employees didn't get a raise this year. When's the last time they gave us retired people a cost of living increase? It's been so long, most retired people don't even know what a cost of living increase is anymore. They used to give them to us every year. Then they quit. So, aha, government workers, join the club. Well, there you go.
How far are we supposed to go?
Oh, that's what stop when you get to 36. Have you pretty well figured, or 35, you stop. Have you pretty well figured that when we get down here, we'll usually stop? Sometimes we'll do in other words, but I don't think this time that's necessary, so stop when you get to 35. And if I don't tell you, just be sure to ask when we're in class. Well, there you are. It's 9:30 and we're out of here. That means I'm here to help people. Have you signed the attendance sheet? Did you write down that you read the pages? Would you agree that it helps to follow what's going on in class, even if you didn't understand the pages when you read them? It helps to have read that, to run that through your mind before we start talking about it. Have you noticed that yet? I'm supposed to give prizes away today too. So, if you read your pages, come on up here and you can either get a pencil or one of those little tags, either one, whatever suits your fancy.
How long will you be in here for?
As long as it takes.
Well, I have my readers, but I forgot the first page at my door. Last time run back and grab it.
Yeah, you have that.
I'll just leave the second half of yours, and I just gotta grab it. That'll work. And I'm gonna grab a pen so I read my pages. Thanks, sir.
Questions? I'm gonna have to bring my pen here.
Okay.
I have a question about the homework. I couldn't finish it because I didn't understand. You can go to Apple. I already have it. Okay. So, can I change to the page where I got it's a purple
Yep,
one?
and I'll be down here at the first table as soon as I get this all shut off.
Okay.
I'll help you.
Okay. Let me know if I just I'm gonna take another look at it. Like
Yeah, thank you very much.
Did you cut off the holes on your paper?
I'm struggling.
You cut off the holes on your paper?
You're welcome.
How
Anytime.
sad is that?
No, trust me, I know it's frustrating. That mail kind of glitched. Yeah.
Yeah. Help yourself.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out how to turn this thing off, why it's not going back to it. Still not turning off. Huh.
Did you just get it stuck?
I don't know. See if that gets affected. All right, good. If I just turn my tablet off. Sorry about that, people. You're watching all.